Welcome to the Coach Trap podcast with your hosts Greg Styan and Dan Williams. This is where we break down all those marketing myths, tell it like it is, and drop a few hacks to help you go from invisible to irresistible. No fluff, just honest truths and maybe some sarcasm along the way. Let's dive in.
Dan, we are back with the Coach Trap podcast. So today we're talking about the do's and don'ts of paid ads. We've both had our own experiences with ads. My biggest question for you, Dan, is a marketer. For a coach, is it worth it? Is it not? Is putting paid ads out there as a coach the same as, say, drop shipping, or if you're on OnlyFans? I think that's a good way to start. Is paid ads the same for a coach, someone who's drop shipping, or someone who's doing OnlyFans?
It's absolutely not. I think obviously as a coach you're trying to build your personal brand, so it's difficult to force yourself in front of people when you're building your personal brand. It's not going to build you a loyal following or good connections or anything like that. People are just going to want to skip past you when they see an ad. I know I've talked about before, I started with drop shipping, and obviously ads, Facebook ads and stuff did well, Instagram ads did well, especially with the visual stuff. But that's because there was no person behind the brand. It was all logo. But as a coach, you want to get your face out there as much as possible. You want to get your personality through, and that's not going to happen with paid ads.
Absolutely. I've had my own experiences of paid ads, some good, some bad. And I'll come into cost per clicks and what ones are cheaper, what ones are a value. But let's say that you're a newbie coach from the start, or you're Tony Robbins. Is there a similar amount of value in going into paid ads? The best example I've got of this is when you're on Instagram and you're scrolling through. At the top, it says sponsored. So you can see what coaches are paying for ads. And you click or you check out their profile and you notice that they've got maybe 10, 20 followers. Is it the same value for a newbie coach, or say Tony Robbins, to put a lot of money into ads?
I think there's two metrics that you need to be tracking before you start paid ads, which is your organic following and how much money you've got, how many sales you're making with that organic following. Obviously, if your organic following is massive, but you're making a lot of sales with it as well, a lot of people will trust you already. So when people see your ad, they're going to click on your profile, which is the first thing, obviously, you probably do when you see a paid ad. And they're going to see that you're that guy in that field. And they're obviously going to be much more likely to click your links, trust you instantly, really, and get more sales.
Absolutely. That's such a great answer, Dan. For me as a coach, when I first started out and I was desperate for it to work and it didn't, you do your research, you learn, you better. And then I was learning about social proof bias. And that's the difference between, say, Tony Robbins and the new coach, is that he's already done the hard work. The ads are just making better offer even better, if that makes sense. Dan, from our experience, not just from working with me, but working from other coaches, we've looked at the mere exposure effect, priming and repetition. Basically, people will want to see you 6 to 8 times before they buy. So you don't just expect an instant sale. But that's different to drop shipping, different to OnlyFans. Um, if you're a new coach and you wanted to excel, you wanted to get your image out there more, get your offer in front of people, where would you start? What would you do?
I definitely wouldn't start with paid ads. You can't really pay your way to someone's trust or to be liked by someone. This is pretty common knowledge, but common knowledge isn't very common on the internet these days. But I think, yeah, definitely go organic first, build that following, build that trust. And once you start making sales from that, you'll have the capital and the reason and the credibility to start running your paid ads, because paid ads just get attention, more attention on you. So you don't want to be getting more attention on a brand that's not very good, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I think you can look at that in many ways. I would know that is cognitive load theory or loss aversion. Okay. Actually getting the potential client to hone in and to visualize themselves improving from what you're doing, instead of putting out something generic, highlight what people lose by not acting, such as, are you still stuck? You could be better in 30 days by following this routine, But let's say that you're a coach, you're looking for a bit more, and you decide to go into paid ads. Dan, what platform would you use and why?
It depends on where your audience is currently, your organic audience, and where your potential target audience is, the sales. Because obviously, if say your target audience is on LinkedIn, but you've got a massive Instagram following, so you start paid ads on Instagram, you're just going to get more followers and not as many sales. So it's going to be kind of unsustainable to put all that money into ads where you're only getting followers and you're not getting sales. But you could say same coin, you start ads on LinkedIn when you haven't got an organic presence there, you're not getting the results that you could be getting because people don't trust you, even if they're the right people for your offer.
Such a great answer, because people don't trust you. We run a test, same ad, same video, same caption on X and Instagram, and X was had much better metrics, and the metrics that we were looking at was a click-through rate, had more clicks to our website. However, I find that with advertising on X, it was a lot more generic in terms of who saw it, male, female, certain age, one or two interests. But on Instagram, you can really zone in terms of, not just age, generics, where they are in the world, but more so into their interest, which is interesting, Dan, isn't it? We see lots of coaches on Instagram advertising. We were talking about Ashton, the big guy with the ice baths. What do you think his tactics are?
Obviously, he's gone organic. He's got 11 million organic followers. His main thing is obviously the organic content, the kind of being a bit controversial, being a bit just a bit weird. It just stands out, doesn't it? If you're on the feed and you see this massive guy sprinting down the road, you've not really seen that before, or what's the word? When he gets the banana peel and just rubs it on his skin.
Absolutely.
It's just outrageous. It's rage bait basically. So
Love that.
that organic content is absolutely top class, but he wouldn't have got that with paid ads. People would have just scrolled past him and been like, this guy's trying to sell me something again, like, especially if you didn't have the followers in the first place. So organic content, as we said, start there.
Dan, it's such a great point. I noticed a few things in it. One, it's very different. Okay, it's very authentic. We can talk about James Smith or Tony Robbins or whatever. Okay, actually, they all stand out because they're being authentic. They're being themselves. Yeah, being different. Do you need ads to do that? That's the question. I'm not so sure you do. If you're on OnlyFans, if you're starting a drop shipping business, if you're selling something, of course, certain platforms are going to be better than others. As a coach, surely it's better to be authentic, to build relationships, to incorporate, a killer DM strategy. Interesting stuff. Dan, I've got a question. What do you think is the most expensive social media channel for advertising?
Oh, I supposed to pretend that you didn't tell me before? No. I'm going to say, I think what I usually think would be Instagram or TikTok, one of those.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. So when I was started off as a coach, and I created my high ticket program, etc., I did really go for LinkedIn. And what was really great about LinkedIn ads is you could be really specific who sees it. So I was all about work-life balance. I was after CEOs and C-suite guys. You can literally drop a message, a video in their inbox and they see it. You can create that relationship. However, what I also saw was that ad spend just drain away literally in seconds. The CPM, cost per impression, is $20 to $35 on LinkedIn. Dan, what do you think for the same amount of impressions costs on YouTube?
£1.
$4 to $10. Wow. And actually, when you look at YouTube, X, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, they're all roughly about the same, from 4 to 10 in that sort of range. The CPC, the cost per click, is a little bit different. On LinkedIn, it's massive. It's $3 to $6, but on the others, it ranges from 30 cents to, $1, which is really interesting. So for me personally, they're all about the same when it comes to money spent or an ad spend total. LinkedIn, not so much, but you can be a lot more specific. So, Dan, you're a coach selling a high ticket program. What one do you go for and why using ads?
I think as a coach, a lot of coaches will be selling to like their younger self or like pre-learning something, and they're going to teach someone that thing. So you've got to think, what would catch my attention? What platforms would I be on? For me, the LinkedIn ads, you get, I don't know if you've got these, but the messages in your DMs from sponsored messages on LinkedIn, they just, I don't respond to LinkedIn messages anyway, but the sponsored ones are just, they annoy me. So I would absolutely not use them personally, because the person that I was back then um wouldn't have listened to those sponsored messages. They're annoying, and they've got no trust behind them. A lot of times they'll have no organic presence as well. So I think, yeah, go for what you would uh find engaging.
That's a really good answer. Dan, one thing we've noticed is just how much more powerful video is compared to static ads. 20 to 30% better. Video compared to a static caption is 200% more effective. We realized something, didn't we, with the podcast that we do, with the YouTube channel that we've got, Ocus AI Clipper. We can create at least 50 to 60, 70,000 views a month just from using a simple AI tool. That for a snip of the price, a yearly fee to use Ocus AI compared to generating ads is a massive saving. Dan, what do you think about that? Do you think it's just a matter of just trial and error, testing a few things, finding something like that? Or do you think you just go full steam ahead into sending ads and hope for the best?
I would always test first organically, so you're not paying for stuff. You can test, say we advertise a tweet with a video on it on Twitter. You could test that organically. You could test a slightly different caption, like a couple of weeks after, and see what happens. So obviously, testing is important. You can test with like 10, 20, 30 pounds a day maybe for a couple of
Yep.
days. A/B testing is massive. Like small changes in words can make a massive difference. And obviously with video is good. If you're good at video, if you're not bad at video, it's going to build more trust. It's going to build the confidence in you, because with paid ads, all you need is confidence and ease with which to buy, basically. So if you've got a good funnel, a good website, optimized words, and then you've got trust from your audience, maybe they've seen you before on your organic platform. If we advertise on Twitter, for example, they could click on our profile and see all our organic stuff. We've got the trust, and then you just need to make it easy for them to say yes, basically, to your offer.
Absolutely. Okay, so Dan, the coach trap, if we have a new coach come through the door, obviously, I think a lot of these guys would look at someone like Ashton, say, or James Smith or Tony Robbins, and say, this is where I want to be. And obviously, they are using paid ads, but what they've already done is the hard work. They've already built up the authority. And it's also really important to remember that paid ads don't work for everyone. If you're Bonnie Blue, for example, or you're Mr. Beast or you're Ashton, obviously paid ads are going to be massive for you, but you've already built up the following. But let's say that you do decide to go for paid ads. Bam. Let's do some do's and don'ts. So for me, from the experience that I've had for ads, is to lead with transformation, not what you do, but what they get. And it's really important that you don't talk about yourself. It's all about them. Second of all, video boosts conversion rates by 20 to 30% compared to static ads. Start small, test everything. Okay, like we talked about the Ocus AI. I only knew about how good that was from free trial. Use retargeting. It's where most of your conversions come from. So you're from the testing, you'll work out your niche and you'll work out what message works with what audience, and also a really, really important one, a lead magnet. Use something of value to lure them in that they can take away and that they'll really enjoy, and that'll be really useful and personal to their lives. Dan, any more do's for paid ads? Anything that you'd add to that list?
We always talk about the importance of hooks in organic content, but in paid ads, they're like 10 times more important. I think you've talked before about in sales calls, the first like 0.4 seconds is the most important. You're making a first impression. It's just like that with ads. You've got to call out exactly the person that you want to attract. So if you look at paid ads that you're getting, you'll often find that they start with a question like, "Are you a life coach or are you a personal trainer in X area?" And obviously you'll be like, "Yes, I'm that guy." So you keep reading. It's very important to call out someone, call out a problem, and the better you describe the problem in as little time as possible, the more trust you're going to build on top of your organic presence, and the more clicks you're going to get, the more conversions. So that's my main thing. Just get those hooks absolutely nailed.
Absolutely, Dan. I think that's a great answer. So just to clarify, two big things the coach trap would add to paid ads. What you need to do is cognitive load theory. Too many choices or unclear CTAs kill conversion. So simple, direct equals better. Use one goal per ad max. And the second one, a big one, is loss aversion. So highlight what people lose by not acting. But you're still stuck. In 30 days, you could be better with this new routine. But it's simple, Dan, isn't it? To be direct, to know your market and to go for it. You can't walk others down a line if you haven't walked it yourself. So, Dan, let's move on to the next one. Some of the don'ts in terms of paid ads, because I think that most coaches, when they come into the business, go straight into paid ads. And we know that 86% of coaches quit or fail in their first year, and cost will definitely be an influence for that. So, for me, don't go in blind. No strategy is wasted money. Don't use generic copy like I would help you reach potential. It's not enough. And Dan, we see that a lot, don't we? That generic copy. Don't expect overnight success. We know, Dan, don't we, that this is a long game. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And that use an ads manager. That was really helpful for me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn Sales Navigator was excellent. Dan, anything else that you'd add to a don'ts list of paid ads?
Don't sell in the first ad, really. Kind of funnel people, as you said, the lead magnet into your organic following. Like even emails, you could funnel them into that, or even just booking calls, but not sales, because they've just seen you. As you said, you talk about when they see you 6 to 8 times, they're going to trust you. First time, they're not going to trust you, especially when you're paying to be in front of them. So that's a big no. Don't sell in the first ad. And also, don't use ChatGPT. I see that quite a lot. You might as well just throw money down the drain if you want to use ChatGPT. If you're putting all your money into the paid ads, you might as well put the effort into making sure they're going to provide value and they're going to stand out to people and they're going to be human.
Absolutely. So, in short, the coach trap is saying, don't waste your money on paid ads unless you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Short and simple. Dan, a great chat. The next time we are on, we have a special 4-part series with Audopia, talking about audio coaches, where we speak to coaches about their course, but also we tackle a problem that they're having with marketing themselves as a coach. Looking forward to it. Dan, anything else you want to add?
I would just say keep building your organic presence. Don't worry about paid ads until you actually understand them and you've got credibility and you've got money and you're getting sales. And just go from there, really. I'm actually looking forward to these case studies with the other coaches. It's going to be really good.
It's going to be really fun. So each coach comes to us with one problem. We analyze it, help them, give them a strategy to take home and to improve their business. Dan, great stuff. Look forward to it. Good luck with your cycling. And let's speak again soon.
Cheers, Greg.